the Eagles finally get on the board with free agency. Not the big, bold move you'd expect. But hey, at least Howie Roseman's got a pulse. I'm not worried. Are you? Training the AM, we're live, talking all things and taking your opinions. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, whatever. Players Championship. We're live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube, Twitter. Little early start time today, 10 minutes early. Getting a head start on today as I got to wrap the show up a little bit early, so please do me that favor. Hit that like button and that subscribe button. Please share it out. Tell one, tell all. Trending in the AM, the #1 sports morning show in Philadelphia, even if you did not know it. The only show where your opinions actually matter. And I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard of Knowledge. And the Eagles are on the board with free agency. The Eagles finally make some moves, show some life, retaining one of their players and bringing in a new free agent. Hey, they finally signed a guy. So we're going to talk all about it. I got some interesting things I want to talk about, Eagles related, on why. Give a more detailed explanation on why the Eagles have been so quiet and patient on free agency. There's a clear reason. And the panic that Eagles fans are feeling right now, I'm going to try to put you at ease. I'm going to try to put you, in a little bit more of a comfortable situation to understand there's a reason why the Eagles are staying so quiet at the start of free agency here. Let's just have patience. And I'm going to preach that all off season long, but we're going to have patience here. That's what we're going to do. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Welcome, A.J. Dillon. Yes, the new Philadelphia Eagle is A.J. Dillon. Good morning, Little G. How you doing? And just like that, let's talk about it. Yes, obviously, A.J. Dillon is the first outside free agent brought in, signed to a one-year deal. 26-year-old former running back of the Green Bay Packers. We now have the Quad Kings in Philadelphia. He did not play in 2024. Because of a cervical neck stinger that was considered career-ending. But obviously the Eagles are going to give him a shot to make this roster. We don't know the financial details of the A.J. Dillon deal. But the A.J. Dillon deal to me is more like a Rashad Penny type deal from a few years ago. He is not bumping Will Shipley out of running back 2, at least not yet. He is being brought in here on an extremely cheap one-year deal to prove he can even play football. And there's a chance he doesn't even make the team when all is said and done. But if he is healthy, he will provide that power back in the situation where Saquon Barkley has to miss a game or two. He'll provide that option along with Will Shipley. The guy's a thick, powerful running back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. But again, missed the entirety of 2024. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. It is an obvious, baby step to fill out a roster. Howie finally doing what we have been complaining about in previous years, and we were all freaking out. They are doing it right. I'm hearing a lot of the Rashad Penny comparisons too. That's why I brought up. I didn't come up with that one on my own, but this is the kind of move. Look, last offseason, the Philadelphia Eagles spent buku bucks, obviously, on Saquon Barkley and Chauncy Gardner Johnson, bringing those guys in. Obviously, Bryce Huff, that didn't work out yet. But then he also did bring in a lot of those nobodies in Zach Bond, Oren Burks, guys like that, Mekhi Becton. So for every big name he signed, he brought in one or two relatively unknowns, relative prove-it type deal kind of guys. And that's what Howie's offseason is going to be like this year. It is going to be a lot of a little. Think about this. 7 guys: Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata. Hurts, Barkley, A.J., Smitty, Landon, Lane, and Mailata. That's 7 players already making over $20 million a year. Cam Jurgens is up for an extension. Cam Jurgens is going to get an extension north of $20 million a year. That would put him at 8. Next offseason, Jalen Carter will get an extension north of $40 million a year. So that'll be 9 of your 22 starters making north of $20 million a year. There is a salary cap in football. You can't sign everybody. You've got to build through the draft. They have 22 draft picks over the next 2 years. They've got 10 this year. They're going to continue to retain. Y'all wanted Howie to draft elite players and draft better. Well, Howie is drafting phenomenally over the last 4 or 5 years. Most of our team is built through the draft. And when you hit on as many top-end draft picks as the Eagles have, you've got to reward them and sign them. So you can't bring in the big names. Who's the guys that are getting the biggest deals? None of them could have been brought in here. So you got to understand that Howie has a lot on his plate to bounce. And honestly, 17 or 18 of our starters from last year are back. And some of those spots that aren't back, we already have their replacements on the roster. What's up, Marky Mark? A little disappointed they didn't re-sign Isaiah Rodgers. I think CJ talked his way off this roster. I think CJ first, Mark, was part that, but part also a bit straight up business decision. He needed a pay raise too. And they're saving a lot of cash this year and a lot of salary cap in the future years with moving on from him. That's the only person that they moved on from that I don't have confidence in the in-house replacement, a.k.a. Sidney Brown, just yet. Now, Isaiah Rodgers, I did want to see Isaiah Rodgers back as well. 2 years, $15 million that he got with the Vikings. Not a big contract. Thought they could have matched that. But obviously the Eagles drafted Kelee Ringo a few years ago. He sat behind Darius Slay the last 2 years. Obviously they have faith. He's only 22, 23 years old, Ringo. They have faith that Ringo can step in and has learned enough under Christian Parker and Darius Slay to be that guy. Now, I expect them to bring in depth and competition, but spending $15 million on Isaiah Rodgers versus whatever that rookie deal is for Kelee Ringo, big difference. Big difference. So I get it. I understand it. They are leaning a lot towards the draft. It's a gamble, but we saw they have done it. I would go back to 2020. Since 2020, the draft's been great. Let's take Jalen Reagor out of the conversation from 2020. You got your franchise quarterback in 2020. So since 2020, I'll give them 5 straight years of elite draft. Plain and simple. And that's how you build it. And here's the counter to that, and I'll get to the other comments in a second. In 2017, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? They won the Super Bowl with the 8th oldest roster in the NFL. And why did the Eagles, that dynasty in the making, collapse? 1, Carson Wentz, mental case, injuries. 2, because Howie retained everybody. And in 2018, they became the 3rd oldest team in the NFL. So the Eagles went from the 8th oldest team to the 3rd oldest team. And it fell apart because they got too old. They gave up. Same thing happened with the Phillies after the 2008 to 2011 run. They got old really fast, and they fell apart. Howie's learning from that. Howie's learning to build through the draft, A, and then B, following that up with retaining the young talent. And the other talent, let them move on. We'll draft more. So Howie's doing something that most teams don't do on a regular basis. You don't win the Super Bowl by signing every high-priced free agent. You win it by drafting well, developing well, having replacements ready to go, Moro Jomo for Milton Williams, when the time is right. Howie sure does know, Brian, come on. How's he tearing it down? 17 of the 22 starters are still here. Maybe 18. If you count Dallas Goedert, technically. I'm counting Dallas Goedert out of here already. I'm assuming Dallas Goedert's gone. Guys, make sure you're hitting that like button and that subscribe button. We're already pushing 25 concurrent viewers on YouTube. There should be at least 25 likes on this video. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and please hit that share button. Share it out. I'd greatly appreciate it. This is the kind of narrative right now, Pump Man, that I don't want to hear because there is far too much negativity already surrounding this Eagles team. We won the Super Bowl a month ago. This team is locked up. 9 of the 11 offensive players are returning, and that's if Dallas Goedert doesn't come back. And that's if Mekhi Becton doesn't come back, which we'll talk about in a minute. Just think about that. Howie being cold and business-like, no emotions in it. That is how you run a business. As a business, not as an emotional thing. Good morning, Duck. How are you? Howie wasn't kidding when he said the team would look different. Well, I'll give you Howie's exact quote from the Combine that I love. It's not going to look like maybe the conventional wisdom thinks it should. Damn straight. And we're fine with that. Number one defense, -5 starters. 5? How are we missing 5 starters? Technically, Milton Williams wasn't a starter, and he was a rotational player that we already have another rotational player in place. Slay, Chauncy, Gardner, Johnson are gone. That's fine. Technically, you have their replacements on the roster already. Not sure about those per se. Milton Williams, gone. That's fine. You got his replacement. Rodgers was a backup. He wasn't a starter. So really, you lost 2 starters on your defense. So let's put it in perspective. Dobbs, what's up? The NFL isn't ready for the quad squad. I call it the quad kings. Running yards, our running backs get before contact, Barkley and Dillon. Look, I'm not as hyped about the Dillon deal as others. Dillon is what Dillon is, a guy that hasn't played football in a year. So, I don't even know if 100% he makes the roster at this point. Where is Lane's, Sweat, and Becton's replacement? Lane's still on the roster. Sweat's replacement is Jelix Hunt. And Becton's replacement, if Becton goes, which I still think he will, I'm trying to pull a thread that maybe he comes back. But you drafted Tyler Steen in the 3rd round a few years ago. He's been learning at Stoutland University. If Becton goes, which maybe he doesn't, Steen's the guy. And I'm fine with Steen being the guy to replace Mekhi Becton. I am. Milton was not a starter. Burks wasn't a starter till the Super Bowl. I forgot about Sweat. All right, so 3 starters. Slay, Sweat, and Chauncy are the only 3 starters technically. And you've got replacements for them all. And Milton, you've got replacements for all of them, in my opinion, except for Chauncy Gardner Johnson. You still got the draft. It is literally less than 24 hours, less than 12 hours. Well, it was 6 o'clock last night, so yeah. Just over 12 hours officially since free agency began. And we're overreacting because we lost guys. You couldn't afford to pay Milton Williams. I just said it. You've got 7 guys, about to be 8, making $20 million a year. You could not pay Milton Williams as well. The Chauncy Gardner Johnson thing was a shock. Yeah, I get it. But it's about paying the other guys. Sweat, the Arizona Cardinals by week 3 will regret giving $80 million almost to Josh Sweat. Burks, sure, I would like to have seen him come back for depth. Slay wanted $10 million. He got guaranteed. You're not getting that here. He took about 10% more snaps than Jordan Davis. But Jordan Davis, details matter. Jordan Davis wasn't the starter. Or Jordan Davis was the starter. He was the higher snap play, but you said starter. Just details matter, pump man. Just saying. Dillon, again, A.J. Dillon, not my hype, but I get it. This is what Howie's going to do. He's going to find 5 or 6 guys that need to prove something and hope 2 or 3 of them work out. And I'm okay with that. We freak out when the Eagles do that. We ask, and because we complain that Howie doesn't draft well. Now he drafts well. Now we're freaking out because he's not signing free agents. You can't have it both ways. He drafted so well the last 5 years, but you got to pay those guys. It's a business. There's a salary cap. You can only pay so many. Trading CJ for the Chauncy Gardner Johnson trade is not about Green or whatever his name is. I already forget his name. He's so bad I already forgot his name. Kenyon Green. It's not about that. Mm-hmm. It's about freeing up cap space in the future years. It's about freeing up cash this year because you got to give out more extensions. It's about being able to give Jalen Carter the contract that he is going to need to be given next offseason. That's the Chauncy Gardner Johnson was a 3 steps into the future kind of move. Unfortunately. And that one was weird. Was more, I don't want to say weird, was shocking because we didn't see it coming. Now look, you're all going to be upset when Dallas Goedert gets traded today or tomorrow. Biggest concern from Dives is Sidney Brown. I can buy into Ringo starting as long as you have a backup piece there, maybe. I don't know about Sidney Brown either. Wow, we are over 30 concurrent viewers. Real quick, guys, make sure there should be at least 30 likes on this video. Please like, share, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I am concerned about Sidney Brown as well. I'm not ready for that. I mean, a lot of people talking about them drafting a safety in the first round. That could happen. Justin Simmons is out there again. You know, there are options to replace or at least compete with Sidney Brown. You act like Howie didn't screw up. How did he screw up 2023? They put together a team that was 10-1. His only screw-ups entering 2023 were the offensive and defensive coordinator high. They were the only mistakes he made. Sidney Brown is not ready. I don't think Sidney Brown ever will be ready. I think Sidney Brown is what he is, a backup / special teams gunner. Post-Super Bowl, Howie needs to be studied. While he's doing this post-Super Bowl, 100% different than he did the 2017 Super Bowl. 2017 to 18, they got older. This year, he's getting younger. What do you want him to do? As Brian Pumpman, and I love you, Pumper. I do. I appreciate you tuning in. But have you moved on from hating Jalen Hurts to hating Howie Roseman now? Are you now the Howie hater? All this, and I still think they can go back. Absolutely. They're still the best team in the NFC without a shadow of a doubt, Mark. Without a shadow of a doubt, the number one team in the NFC, in my opinion. The amount of compensatory picks the Eagles are about to get that Howie uses to trade up and get studs in this year's draft. Love it, Steve. What's up, Steven Fuentes? You see Scotty Scheffler over 20% higher owned than Rory McIlroy in the Players' Championship. Yeah, I expect a very aggressive draft this year and next year from Howie Roseman. Doesn't save you a lot of money. It saves you cash this year. Cash that Jeffrey Lurie uses to free up to give big upfront bonuses. Cam Jurgens is going to get a huge contract extension. It's going to be on average $20 million a year, at least. But they're going to front load it with bonuses and cash that Jeffrey Lurie has to write out a check for. It saves a bunch of that cash to then give it to Cam Jurgens. It's not just about the salary cap. It's about the cash as well. Howie has a vision. You just can't. Look, he does have a vision. And, you know, this isn't his first rodeo. I think Howie has earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt. 3 Super Bowl teams built in 8 years. 2 Super Bowl champions in 8 years. Give the guy the offseason to figure it out. It's literally Thursday morning on March 13th, and we're freaking out and blasting Howie because all he's done is sign A.J. Dillon. It's crazy. Do not trade Goddard. That would be the biggest mistake. I'm leaning to think that it might be a mistake if they trade Goddard. Find a way to renegotiate that contract. The lowers cap hit a little bit. I forget if they renegotiate, it could go down to like $3 million or something like that, or they could save $3 million. I get it. I'm starting to lean that way as well. And then you could draft a safety early instead of a tight end early, and that defense. You can avoid tight end in the first 2 or 3 rounds if you renegotiate Goddard's deal. The money is more for next year's. They're going to have to give Jalen Carter. Just look at the deals given out. Milton Williams got $26 million. Look at some of the contracts being given out on defense in the NFL, Big Al. What do you think Jalen Carter's contract extension next offseason is going to be? Dude, it's going to be 5 years, $230, $240 million. It's going to be $40 to $45 million a year. Insane. You got to have money. You can't let him walk. You can let Milton Williams walk. You can't let Jalen Carter walk. Jordan Davis is going to walk next offseason. I guarantee you they do not pick up the 5th-year option on Jordan Davis. Brown needs snaps to put what he's learning into action and then adapt. You got to have you can get a backup piece, a depth piece to Keely Ringo. You need a direct competitor for Sidney Brown to push him, in my opinion. Jonathan's in the house. What's up? Your positivity is on the level of Dan Sileo. Well, he does watch a lot of Dan Sileo content and comment on his show, too. Those super chats are fun to see from him to that. Please push that. That's right, Michael. Good morning, Dijon. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the share button. This is the only show where your opinions actually matter. And just so you guys, a lot of people watching right now. It's a short show. I got to run right at 9 o'clock to get to the pizza shop today. So we started 10 minutes early, and we're going to end about 30 minutes early. Got to get to work. How about that clutch loss by the Sixers, baby? Dude, I thought they were going to blow that and win that game because the Raptors are trying to lose too. 5 spot gives a 65% chance. Like it. Yeah, golf from Mark. Tiger blows out his Achilles. Officially done, right? He's done for this year. Senior tour, here he comes. I don't know. Rory McIlroy came out yesterday before the Players' Championship and said he will never play senior tour golf. I can see Tiger not playing senior tour golf. Tiger's going to always try to suit up every year at the Masters and at the Open Championship. U.S. Open, PGA Championship, probably never play again. He's going to be one of those old-timers at the Masters every year. He'll be one of the honorary starters in a few years. And that's it. Poor guy. One of the best. Changed the world of golf for the better. And his body's held together by duct tape. Rashad Penny, Terrell Edmonds, Nicholas Morrow, and Zach Cunningham are Howie's resume. Howie screwed up. Take off the Howie-colored glasses. You want me to take? We are literally a month removed from winning the Super Bowl, and you want me to take off my Howie glasses? Keith, like really? Yeah, Terrell Edmonds. But here's the thing. Rashad Penny, I told you all it wasn't. You all hype up moves. I told everybody on this show, Rashad Penny was gassed. Just like I'm saying there's a chance that A.J. Dillon's gassed. I told you guys on this show, Terrell Edmonds wasn't making the 53-man roster. He did, then was cut like week 2 or something like that. I told y'all Nicholas Morrow was not going to be as good as T.J. Edwards. Zach Cunningham, I was wrong. I thought Zach Cunningham would be a good player. That's that. You had a terrible I said on this show, very show, that Sean Desai and Brian Johnson were the wrong hires at DC and OC, and that was going to be the downfall. All these names, we were still 10-1 to start the year. It was the coaching, the coordinators, and yes, some of the replacements for these mistakes that failed. So 2023, we still made the playoffs. We still won the division. We didn't win the division. We were a wild card that year, right? We still were in the playoffs with all these problems. We still won 11 games. You act like we went 2-14 or 2-15 in 2023. I still think the Eagles trade back and loads up on future picks. I could see the trade back. It depends on how the board falls, Dobbs. I could see Howie, if there's a guy he really likes that falls to like the 18 to 20 range, 18 to 22 range, him moving up to get him. But unless somebody really, really falls into his lap, yeah, I can see him. A lot of my mock drafts that I run, and we're going to do a mock draft tomorrow. I think we're going to have some fun with a mock draft. I could see him trading back into that 36 to 40 range, picking up more assets for 2026. All those were vet minimum contracts. Yeah, exactly. It's not like he gave $100 million to those guys. People forget. We have a draft. It's literally the second day of free agency, Duck. The second day. Let's relax. Let's let Howie do what he does. He's built 3 Super Bowl teams in 8 years. He knows what he is doing. We put those field. We did. And we still won 11 games. We still made the playoffs. And I don't even know what the stat is anymore. Isn't there a stat like if you're the losing team in the Super Bowl, you miss the playoffs like X amount of times the following year? They still made the playoffs. What's up, Jonathan? Good morning to you. How are you doing things differently to pay the foundational players in future? Exactly. Now, if there's no salary cap in football, they'd all be here still. But that's not the way it works in football. Biggest storyline right now, if Howie tried to trade Bryce off, dead cap is brutal in 25, but would open up so much space. Yeah, I'm trying to get creative here, okay? Here's something I tweeted out yesterday. All right, Mekhi Becton still has not been signed by anybody. Maybe they're working on a deal to bring Mekhi Becton back, and then they use Tyler Steen in a package with Bryce Huff to get somebody to take Bryce Huff. Or they use Tyler Steen to trade for something else, but you got to attach something to attract somebody to Bryce Huff. Maybe you attack Tyler Steen to that. And Mekhi Becton stays. I don't know. Just throwing a random theory thread out there. I'm trying to get creative. They were cheap veteran pickups, and Penny and Edmonds almost never played. Exactly. Because every GM has to hit K1 on every single signing and every single draft pick. If you're not 100 for 100 on every single move you do, you're a failure. But I guess 2 Super Bowls in 8 years wins and 3 Super Bowl appearances in 8 years isn't good enough. What the heck is going on in the chat today? Howie's the best GM in any sport. Howie is 1,000% the best GM in football. No doubt in my mind. It's crazy. Some fans are like the spoiled brat who gets a BMW for the 16th birthday and wasn't a Bugatti. Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed we get Well, we're ending early. We started early. You weren't here. We started early. And we're ending very early today. We've only got about 45 minutes left in today's show. Nobody said Howie was perfect, but he made his little mistakes that caused big problems. Exactly. I don't care how cheap they were. They couldn't play. Actually, Nicholas Morrow played okay. Nicholas Morrow had a 3-sack game in 2023. Edmonds was cut very early in the season. Penny was a mistake. He was washed. The mistakes were the coordinator. That's it. What's up, M2 Nasty? Good morning. I'm excited for this signing. Dude has bigger quads. Look, I can't believe no one has Quad King t-shirts out there for sale already. But yeah, AJ Dillon, I'm not excited for it. It is what it is. I'm more excited that they retained Ben VanSumeren yesterday, and they labeled him a fullback. So he's not going to have to declare every time he comes out of the field. The Ben VanSumeren staying for a 1-year deal in Philly is a bigger deal to me than A.J. Dillon. Let's all root for teams that have 53 starters on their roster. Yeah, exactly. The Eagles are loaded with young talent with the draft 1 month away. Can we please pump the brakes? I know. It's crazy. It's insane. It's the negative media scaring. Like driving home from work last night. I don't listen to talk radio, but my wife was driving, so she's controlling the radio, and she's paging through, and she pauses for like 3 seconds on every channel. She paused on 94.1, and the guy's freaking out. I'm like, I grabbed the remote and changed that channel so fast, blasting the Eagles. It's the media driving this negative attitude that the Eagles are failing. It's pathetic. It's the Cecilios of the world complaining. He brought in bad players. That's the point. Were they bad players? Not necessarily bad players. They weren't good. But again, these bad players you're talking about, Keith, we won 11 games. We made the playoffs, and we were 10-1 at one point. So were they really that bad of players? Most teams in the NFL would love to be 11-6 every single year. Most. We won a Super Bowl every year, but most teams would love 11-6. Someone asked the top 4 teams who spent the most in free agency last year. Exactly. The Bears were the Bears were declared the winner of free agency last year, Big Al. What was their record last year? I wonder what they're thinking. You know, whatchamacallit, I'm trying to think of which team I'm thinking. Well, the Cardinals are going to regret the money they spent this offseason, but I'm trying to think of who I'm trying to figure out here. Hold on, give me a second. There's one team I really want to crush, like the Panthers and the Patriots are spending big money. They're not winning shit next year. I don't care what they spend in free agency. Bryce Huff, a 4th and a 7th for a conditional 7th that becomes a 5th if he has 10 sacks. Get it done. Get it done. Every team takes flyers on cheap guys. You have to. There's a salary cap for a reason. The Jags spent a ton last year, too. Yeah. I remember they spent all that money on Christian Kirk. That really worked out for them. Like, seriously. You don't win the Super Bowl March 13th. You win it over the course of the entire offseason. Now, Pump Man, Keith, if you want to come back to me September 1st and tell me that Howie built a bad roster and this team is going to fail, then we can have a discussion. Seriously. I have no problem criticizing if September 1st or 2nd, whenever final rosters have to be finalized next year, I don't know if they've released those dates yet, then we can have the conversation. But right now, here, I wrote down some notes here. Hold on a second. But let me find the specific thing that I wrote down. I had a thread. I had a thread somewhere I wrote down. Damn it. I had some really good information. Why didn't I write this down? Maybe I tweeted it. Man, I had something perfect here about when some of these guys get brought in and stuff like that. Damn it, I must have tweeted it out. Give me a second to find and see if I tweeted it out. I don't even know if I did. I had a thread running for yesterday, and now I forget what it is. Give me a second here to see if I tweeted this out or not. I guess not. Damn it. I had a perfect little thread in my mind to cover. Did not write that note down, I guess. I thought I did. About how some of these guys get brought in late. But anyway, how he's going to continue to make, entering the 20, damn it, I can't clear my mind right now. I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, guys, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and that share button. There's moves. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was brought in August the first time, and entering 2022. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was brought in very late. DeAndre Swift was a late trade, was a draft day trade. A.J. Brown was a draft day trade. That's where it is. Entering the 2022 season, I'm starting to put the pieces together. A.J. Brown didn't get brought in until the draft. DeAndre Swift, his year, didn't get brought in until the draft. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was an August signing. Okay? I try to write notes, and sometimes I don't get them all down. My apologies. I'm not on drugs right now. No, I've got a thread. I take a lot of notes. Doing this. New England might do some damage this season, but my dear friend. No, not with their quarterback situation. Not yet. Howie brought in players who were previous players that Howie and the staff wanted, mostly first and second rounders, to see if our coaches can get them to fly right. Look, the Eagles don't make every move instantly. You got to judge the final picture. You don't make a pot of spaghetti sauce and 10 minutes into it, taste it and judge whether it's good or not. You let it simmer for 3 hours. And then when it's time, then you dip the bread in and make sure it's okay. You can't judge things when you're smoking a brisket. It's not how it looks or tastes the first hour. It's how it looks and tastes after 10 hours. That's the thing. We're overreacting to on March 13th. These draft day trades, these trades that happen in training camp. There's so much that's going to happen over the next 3, 4, 5 months that you cannot get upset about how he's doing or not doing. AJ gets traded today. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know Luka went. Stop. Don't even bring that negativity in here. AJ Brown will not get traded. Honestly, in theory, if the dead cap hit number wasn't so high, Howie would at least listen to offers. I forget what it is, Marshawn, but I think it's like an $80 million dead cap hit if you trade AJ Brown this year. It's like half our salary cap if you trade him. So that's not happening, obviously. But I think he would listen if it wasn't like that. But Dallas Goedert could get traded. I hope not, but it could. Has Howie not earned our trust? Honestly, AJ was right. The fan base is messy and weird. That is, the fan base is driven by sports talk radio. And some call me a homer and too positive and stuff like that. I criticize Rob Thompson and Daryl Morey all the time. But I also see that I don't have to criticize him until later, until we see the final product. Because I know it's a marathon the offseason. It's not a sprint. Those teams sprinting to sign every big name. You don't just have to sign big names. Like K1 saying that the Patriots are going to be good. How do we know all those players are going to play well together? How do you know those players are going to fit in the locker room together? How do you know those players fit what the defensive and offensive coordinator want to do? It's a puzzle. And all 53 pieces need to fit together perfectly. And Howie's figuring that all out. And they're messy and weird, Marshawn, because WWIP and the fanny packs drive the negativity on their main shows. Plain and simple. AJ getting traded would destroy the Eagles' cap. Yeah, exactly. So it's not even worth the discussion. But I would say this, Anthony. I wouldn't be shocked that if that wasn't the case on the dead cap, that Howie would at least listen. And if someone threw like 3 first-round, 4 first-round picks at him, he'd at least contemplate it. Luka went for 1 first-round pick. I will never forget. I know. Never going to get over that. It's going to be 2037, and Marshawn's still going to be commenting about Luka for a first. Howie will never have enough equity for some fans. Exactly. He's found a way to circumnavigate the salary cap. And still, it's not good enough. He warned us ahead of time to be patient. Again, I will read his quote, his exact quote from the combine. It's not going to look like maybe the conventional wisdom thinks it should. I would just ask our fans to have patience throughout the offseason. Agendas are getting revealed on Hurts and Howie. Some people just can't accept it. Yeah, those agendas are created by the bullshit media that's out there. Pardon my French. That's what it is. The bullshit media. Because, no offense, I get barely any clicks. I'm sitting at 459 subscribers today. Yeah, we've hit 30 viewers a few times. Yesterday's show at 170 views. I'm sitting here struggling for 170 views because I don't drive negativity. I bet you half the media with their agendas, the agenda is to get more ears and more clicks. So they say negative shit that I believe they don't even believe their own crap. They just say it to get the attention. Oh, we're not. We're just joking about AJ. It was a joke because everybody is so unhappy that the Eagles haven't signed every big-name free agent. Because there are people, and no offense, I love them. I appreciate Keith. I appreciate the pup man tuning in. But they're talking about how awful Howie Roseman is and how he's failing this team. Who's talked to Becton? Nobody paying top dollar for someone who's clearly a product. You see, I asked this on Twitter last night, Marshawn. Something's weird that Becton hasn't signed. There's a lot of money given out to offensive linemen. Is it that people think he's in a part of the system here in Philly? Does he really want to come back to Philly and they're still trying to work it out? In my theory, in my thread in my mind, Becton stays and they trade Tyler Steen, actually. Maybe. I'm just thinking out loud. Tyler Steen has some value. I criticized the hell out of Howie 5 years ago. I also see over those years he made adjustments. He changed. Yeah. Again, he made mistakes after the 17 Super Bowl victory by retaining and signing all old people. 2018, third oldest team in the NFL. He's not doing that. He's drafted so elitely that he's got to pay his elite talent. You pay that elite talent by unfortunately making some tough decisions along the way. Steves was Hurts' biggest critic, and I'm beyond happy to be dead wrong. See, my first ever viral tweet was on draft night when we drafted Jalen Hurts because I was so hyped about Jalen Hurts. And I recorded my first ever podcast the Wednesday or Thursday after the draft to talk about Jalen Hurts. I was a huge Jalen Hurts fan coming out of that draft. Coming out of as a freshman in Alabama, I was a huge Hurts fan. I was always been a big Jalen Hurts guy. I don't just make up this Jalen Hurts love. I've been following his career for a very long time. 3 Super Bowl rosters, 2 Super Bowl rings, and we are questioning Howie. I'm with AJ. The fan base is weird and messy. It's a small percentage of the fan base, I think, Marshawn. The Luka trade was shady as shit. Something rotten in Denmark. What about that trade? LeBron does do a lot of orchestrating. Go be a Niners or Bills fan then. Yeah, exactly. Go support one of those dreadful disaster of a franchises that have no clue what they're doing. Exactly. I like Howie, but I see his warts. He has warts. Every GM in every sport has warts, Keith. Every GM. No, sorry, count that. 0 GMs are 100% accurate on every player pick. I'll take the guy that's built 3 Super Bowl champions or 3 Super Bowl teams in 8 years, 2 Super Bowl championships over anybody else in the NFL right now. Patriots ain't winning shit. The Panthers ain't winning shit. The Falcons are a disaster. The Commanders are the only team I'm thinking having a solid offseason so far. Do you want them to sign everybody now and then not be able to retain Jalen Carter next offseason? Like, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to be like the Bengals, where every offseason you're freaking out about what to do? You want to be like the Cowboys, where their biggest free agent offseason acquisition was a long snapper? Like, what do you want them to do? You tell me, Keith, what you think he should have done now, and I'll tell you why he couldn't do it. The sports media in Philly is just toxic. They cause issues and then are surprised when things happen. And they celebrate. Exactly. When, a guy following Twitter put out a poll, which do you prefer, 97.5 or 94.1? I said, I can't vote on it because there's plenty of better content out there. You don't have to listen to those radio channels. You don't. That's not just a plug for me. It's a plug for everybody. Becton a Gardner tackle for another team. I think that teams don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe your question, Marshawn, is part of the reason why he hasn't signed anywhere yet. Those teams have been happy with the O-line players they've gotten from Stoutland U and the Eagles. Yeah, even Andre Dillard's had a decent career since leaving here. I hate it went so much, so I was excited they took a new quarterback. Plus, I really liked how Hurts did okay after leaving Bama. Yeah. See, I was pissed that my tweet that went viral was I was pissed that the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts. And I don't remember the exact wording was, all this guy wants to do is start, and he gets drafted by a team that just gave franchise money to its quarterback. That was the viral tweet, something along those lines. So I want him to have a chance to start. I didn't realize he was going to have a chance to start here so quickly. Guys, hit that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button. You're watching Trend the AM on the STT Sports Network. We got 30 minutes left to go here. But please, a lot of people watching today. A lot of people. So I need you to hit that like button and that subscribe button. If you want, share it out. If you could, turn notifications on. Please. We don't give the Eagles enough credit. Want to go down a wild rabbit hole. Look up first-round quarterback draft picks by Cleveland and Chicago. No, I don't want to depress myself about their franchise. Everyone has warts, issues, and stuff. It's called being human. Yeah. And in sports, everybody makes mistakes. There's no perfect GM. Cincy, Cincy, yeah. Actually, Panthers just signed Mike Jackson and Bobby Brown. Who? Braden Whedon. Aside from Carson Palmer, yeah. Carson Palmer. I like that. Thumbs it up. Yes, please. Thumbs it up, please. I used to listen to 94 all day long at work, but stopped when I realized that they didn't know anything about stats. Hey, Mike, there's some good people on these channels. The problem is that they use negativity to drive their listens and their views. Hey, you one away from I gained that many subscribers today. One away from 500. I wish I was one away from 500. If I gained 40 subscribers already today, I'd be jumping up and down. Yeah, exactly. This content, this work I do for free, this work I do for the passion, not to drive negativity or clicks. But I respect Keith and Pumpman's opinion. I don't agree with them, but I respect them. They're entitled to their opinions. And as long as they have those negative opinions in a nice manner and don't start dropping F-bombs and calling people names, they're entitled to it. I'm going to try to teach them or make them believe that my opinion is right. And that's the difference between what they do on the radio and what we do here on this show. I haven't listened to a second of them. I don't even turn them on to listen to sports games on the drive home from work. I don't. He should have retained Rodgers and CJ. Rodgers is the only one I question. CJ makes sense because you need that cash this year and you need the cap space next year. Rodgers is the only one that he could have tried to find a way. But maybe the reason why Rodgers didn't stay here is he was told he'd have to compete with Ringo for that starting job. Bryce Huff was a disaster. 100%. Bryce Huff, that was last offseason, was a disaster. That's the only one I could agree with you on. And honestly, there's a thread in my head that maybe there's a redemption arc coming for Bryce Huff. You know, we wrote off Nolan Smith after 1 year. We wrote off Brandon Graham after 2 years. Maybe another offseason under Vic Fangio. Maybe Bryce Huff becomes something here. I don't know. But I criticized the Bryce Huff move last year, Keith, because I asked on this very show, is Bryce Huff a one-hit wonder with the Jets? Because he had 4 years, he only had one good year. So just going to say. And this comment here, I've brought this up. For as great as Chauncy Gardner-Johnson is, he will be now on his 5th different team in 5 years. He's changed teams now 5 straight years. Saints, Philly, Detroit, Philly, Houston. That's a lot of traveling for a supposed great player. Just saying. Bryce Huff was such a disaster, they won the Super Bowl. I know, exactly. So such a disaster, he sat and we still won the Super Bowl. We called Nolan Smith a disaster. I did not. I had faith in Nolan Smith turning the corner. I'm going to wave my hand in the air. I've been right a lot. I've been wrong a lot, but I've been right a lot too. Listen to 94.1 for a spell after the Super Bowl. I figured there's no way they could be negative following the win. Then when that died out, I turned it off. Yeah. I try to be rational. I try to let everybody have their opinions. I try to convince them that my opinions are better, but, whatever. It's all good. But I do this for free. I don't do this for money. I wish I did. I wouldn't last, Freddie Defo, I wouldn't last 5 minutes working for 94.1. I'd get fired so quickly for my power of positivity way of doing things. My open-mindedness would get me fired in a heartbeat. How many people questioned Jacoby? How many people questioned a quarterback from Toledo? How many people questioned Jackson? Truth. No one wants Becton, and I don't know why. I'm not sure why. I called Nolan a bust last year. For that, I apologize. And your apologies accepted, Marshawn. You are allowed to make mistakes in this game. You are. We draft players for this reason. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. It's all about continued success with your core players and how he's making moves to keep those core players. Exactly. 1,000%. 1,000%, Peanut. I was a Nakobe truther all along, not so much Nolan. Dude, I was so hyped about Nakobe Dean drafted. I was so hyped about Nakobe Dean's second year, and I was so hyped about him this year. I was a huge fan of Nakobe Dean. I'm hearing Nakobe Dean is recovering super fast and already moving around well. Fantastic news to hear. I hope he's ready to go for the start of the season. I am concerned that he'll be ready, but I'm hopeful that he'll be ready for the start of the season. If he's ready for the start of the season, I expect some hiccups along the way, some slowness along the way. I bet you it'll freak everybody out that I'm saying this. I keep saying Cam Jurgens is going to get his extension soon. Guess what Howie's going to do in the next 5 to 7 days? Howie Roseman's going to give Nakobe Dean a contract extension. He's entering the last year of his deal. And everyone's going to freak out that Howie paid Nakobe Dean while he's injured. Watch it happen. He's going to get Nakobe Dean injured cheaper than if he comes back next year, plays really well, and is healthy, and then gets a new deal that would be more money. Nakobe Dean's worth $10 million now. He might be worth $20 million a year next year. Just making those numbers up, but you get what I'm saying. I think Becton wants to be a tackle, but teams want him to play guard. He wants to play tackle because there's more money. Teams want him to play guard because that's where he's had success. You could be right. Remember when Jason Peters was brought back to be a guard, and then there was an injury, I forget what year it was. And they're like, can you go play tackle? He's like, no, not unless you renegotiate my contract and pay me more. People forget about that. I'm still bitter that Jason Peters refused to change positions because of the money in his contract. It's kind of crazy. But I forget what year that was. This is what Howie envisioned the Georgia Dogs to be. These boys champion the locker room and play championship defense. Davis had 2 sacks in the playoffs and limited snaps. Food for thought. I'm curious to see what they'll do this offseason or next with Jordan Davis. I really am. It'll be interesting. Freaking out now. I'll be flipping tables on draft night if Starks falls to 32 and Howie sprints to the podium to draft him. Would he? I hope he would. But would he? Has he ever drafted a safety in the first round? Or when was the last time any Eagles GM drafted a safety in the first round? Nakobe going to pull a hammy while signing his contract. Maybe. Anyone sensible will give rookies room to get up to speed. High-paid free agents need to be players on day one. Yeah, that's fine. And that's directed at Bryce Huff. And yeah, the Bryce Huff deal was bad. Bryce Huff was old Howie seeping through. I want to sign Bryce Huff, even though he doesn't fit Vic Fangio's scheme. But all the other moves he made. So because he failed on Bryce Huff, he doesn't get credit for Zach Bond. Because he failed on Bryce Huff, he doesn't get credit for Quinion Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. Because he failed on Bryce Huff, he doesn't get credit for anything else. Okay, sensible, in my opinion. I am 100% in on Starks in the draft. I don't think he falls. I can see Howie trade up to 20, 22 if he's there. I think Howie pays Jordan Davis to keep the Dogs core. I trust Vic and Hurt to figure out Davis. I'd like to see what they could do. Yeah, we'll see. I would say try to re-sign him now before he gets any better. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think he makes it past 22. Phil, Howie never drafts high-end safeties in round one, but the last 2 years shows me that this year could be different. Yeah, I mean, he's changed his philosophy every year. If I was Becton, would take a 2-year reasonable year. If I was Becton, would take a 2-year reasonable year. Howie pays guards, do it again. Yeah, maybe. Sign a 2-year deal, $25 million, stay here, prove that you weren't a fluke, a flash in the pan. Maybe that's the way you go. If Howie doesn't get one of these edges or D tackles on day one, I'm going to be sick. Yeah, I mean, if Starks falls, obviously that would be the play. But if he doesn't fall, yeah, there's a lot of talent in that 28 to 40 range at defensive tackle and edge rusher in this draft. And if he doesn't make a bold move to move up to get the safety or whatever, then yes, I would be 98% sure Howie will draft a defensive lineman if he stays at 32 or falls back a few spots. And Keith, I would be shocked if it's anything but that. It's a massive cap hit. You would take like a $20 million cap hit to trade Huff this offseason. I forget the exact number. Someone said it earlier. But you would take that cap hit now, and you'd completely clear the cap hit off next year. So you'd be off at $20 million next year. I think Jordan Davis could be next on the chopping block, and Howie most likely drafts a nose tackle this year. Yeah, I mean, I'm stuck. I mean, some say he stays, some say he goes. I'm torn. I love the potential that Jordan Davis brings, but we're 3 years into the Jordan Davis experiment now. I think we know what he is. I don't think there's too much more room for him to grow as an NFL player. As a human, maybe, but as a player, I don't know. He failed with Bryce Huff. We question every move he makes. JJ will go down as one of the best Eagles. He is not. That's the thing, Marshawn. For as awesome as Chauncy Gardner-Johnson is, he's so replaceable. Hence the fact that he's on 5 teams in 5 years. I mean, it is what it is. Becton is 25, so much value there. Stay as guard, and you extend your career. That too. $13 million cap hit if he's traded before June 1st. So you respond to those of us who think Becton mid. I don't know if he's mid or not. I respond to everybody. Everything is on the table as far as he's concerned this year. Absolutely. Whoa. What the hell? How did I drop my mouse? Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Back to comments. $28 million in dead cap space to move Bryce Huff, but you would save a crap ton of money after 2025. Exactly. Look, I don't think you're going to trade Bryce Huff. I think it would be very difficult to do that. I think Howie has tried. I think Howie will try. But will he be able to find a taker? I don't know. But we'll see. But anyway, let's get back to this here. You know, you're watching Trade in the Aim. There's a lot of people watching. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Please, I ask you to do that. I ask. Please hit that share button if you've done that. We'll be back tomorrow. I mean, we're not closing up the show now, but we got about 15 minutes left in the show. Tomorrow, we'll run Mock Draft 2.0 tomorrow, plus any other breaking news around the NFL. What would you rather the Eagles do? Overpay for players and then be stuck in situations where you're constantly trying to catch up or have a plan. And every guy we've lost, in theory, we've already got their replacement. Milton Williams, Moro Jomo, Josh Sweat, Alex Hunt, Isaiah Rodgers, Keely Ringo. We've got them. You brought back Ben VanSumeren and you brought in A.J. Dillon. Not exciting. Not exciting at all. I still think the Ben VanSumeren deal is way better than the A.J. Dillon deal, in my mind. Who? That's the Bill? That was the trade he made with the Bills, right? They also signed a long snapper, too. Down. You could be what Howie is. Frustrate fans from time to time, but continually have a plan to build a championship roster. Or you could be the Cowboys. Or you could be the Bills. No offense, TMC. You could be the Bills where you pay your quarterback. Josh Allen out there saying he took a pay discount to help the team. $330 million ain't no pay discount. And that's why you signed. Who was the wide receiver they signed? Joshua Palmer. No, that was the bank. No. Who signed? They signed a wide receiver. A bad wide receiver. It's ridiculous. The Eagles are consistently the best team or one of the best teams in football year in and year out. They're consistently building championship quality rosters. Yet, we want more. I get it. We want more than 2 Super Bowls. But man, San Francisco is tearing it down. I saw somebody, Keith, and it's funny you bring up San Francisco. I saw somebody throw the idea and float the idea that they're going to trade Brock Purdy this offseason and completely strip it down. That would be insane. When you overpay players, you become the Flyers. Don't be exactly. Just drafted him with a first. Wow. Bringing back the fullback. I'm all for it. I love it. I love smash mouth old school football. So I'm all for the fullback. I joked that if you weren't going to bring back Ben VanSumeren to go get Juszczyk, who was cut by the 49ers. Palmer. Yeah. Palmer. I thought it was Josh Palmer. Bring out. Josh Allen never has weapons. Let's go get him Joshua Palmer because that's all we can afford after paying him $330 million to never make a Super Bowl. That's how you build losing franchises or franchises that can't really compete. His cap hit this year is $45 million. Look at him taking lead. Yeah, exactly. The stupidity of other franchises. I guess Dillon talking to Tom Brady and Michael Jordan helped more than we thought. Look, I love it. I don't think enough's been made about that photo floating around about him having dinner with Michael Jordan. I know he was at the Jordan thing and all, but come on now. Eric, what is up? We missed you yesterday. Glad to have you here today. Good morning, my man. CMC, they find no market because he's almost 30. Yeah, I wouldn't trade for CMC, although you put him behind a great offensive line. But who builds offensive lines other than the Eagles? A CM Punk flex. What's that? The CM Punk flex is more. It's clobbering time. Ben VanSumeren was the key move of the offseason. It's been the best move so far, right? Why not? I'm hyped about Ben VanSumeren. I'm proud of Phil knowing around the league stuff. I know everything. Dude, I live on my computer. I live on Twitter. I take notes. That's why sometimes I can't find the exact notes I want. Because, here was the notes I was trying to find. Traded A.J. Brown draft night, then drafted J.D., Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, and Nakobe Dean. They didn't bring in James Bradbury in 2022 until May. They didn't make the Chauncy Gardner Johnson trade to August. Like, literally, the 2022 team was built from draft night on. I only found those notes, K1, 30, 40 minutes after I wanted them. You don't win. The 2022 offseason was won later in the offseason by the Eagles, not on day one. Yeah, trolling Lions fans, yeah. Re-signing Vaughn is the best. Exactly. We kept the most important free agent we had in Zach Vaughn and the second most important free agent in Ben VanSumeren. Absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you, Dives, with this comment. Untapped potential for BVS. Absolutely agree. Finding the notes way early. Good morning, Mitchie Poo. Please like, subscribe, share, everybody. For Mitchie Poo, do it. I think special teams is our signature next year. Maybe. He's a Jordan brand athlete. I know he just won a chip. He was also doing some event. I think like the next day there was a video posted of him at the Jordan like offices and stuff like that. But still, the guy wants to soak in knowledge from the greats of all time. After 2022 season, he spent time with Tom Brady. Now Jordan. He wants to learn from the greats of the greats. Have a great day. Smash that like button, subscribe, share. Yeah, absolutely. We're almost out. We got 10 minutes left today on the show. Steelers are winning free agency. How? They don't have a quarterback. You can't play without a quarterback. We signed a safety before the draft, and the NFL is screwed. We might draft a safety. You never know. Good morning, kid. Hope you're well. Thank you very much for enjoying the show. Men don't ignore the signs. I worked out all week with chest pain thinking I had acid reflux. Finally went to the ER. Oh, wow. Well, I hope you are okay, my man. I hope. Oh, you had it last Tuesday. Take care of your health, guys. Very important. Take the advice of Kid here. Glad to hear that you're okay, though. Glad to hear you're awake and enjoying the show. If I could do anything to make you smile this morning, you let me know. I hate A.J. Dillon as a person. I wish the Eagles didn't sign him. Why? I don't know anything bad about him. Steelers could draft Shredder. Who? Yeah, I know. Tag is right. I mean, Kid talking major surgery. Major surgery. But I'm glad that he's okay. Glad that he is okay. Exactly. My wife had surgery Kid had surgery last Thursday. Last Wednesday. She's going in this morning for her follow-up appointment. She's been given the clear. She had a cancer scare. She's been given the clear, but she's got to go see the surgeon for post-op, make sure the scar's healing correctly. Steelers are the 90s Flyers now. Would be awesome if they had a quality, most important position. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're bringing that. I don't worry about that stuff. I'll keep my sports and politics separate, Anthony. I judge the team name, not the name on the back. I judge the logo, not the name on the back of the jersey. Steelers remind me of the Giants and Cowboys. They make comedic or cosmetic moves to act like they are doing something. Ravens are still the better team. Yeah. Ravens have made a few moves this offseason. Not sure if it's enough. I think the team that the Eagles should be most concerned about this offseason is the Washington Commanders. Going out and getting me Laramie Tunsil. They've added to their team. Deebo Samuel's not great anymore, but he's better than what they had at wide receiver 2. The Commanders are making moves. I still think the Eagles are better. But it's going to be a dogfight between the Commanders and the Eagles for the NFC East for the next 5 years. And Howie's also thinking that. Howie's thinking about the next 5 years. He's not thinking of just 2025. He's thinking big picture. And big picture is what matters most. That is all that matters most. AJ voted Harris. Don't want what? Stop. I hate Dillon too. He's trying to make us forget the great. That's why I prefer this opinion on hating him. More than anything. Who owns the commies? Yes, exactly. That's why the Commanders will never be great, right? Because Josh Harris is the owner, right? That's spot on, Relaunch. I can get behind that comment. I can get behind that. Commanders and Rams are teams to keep your eye on. I don't understand what the Rams are doing. You have Cooper Kupp. You won't pay your 30-year-old wide receiver, so you cut him, but sign Davante Adams to even more money. Isn't he like 30 years old or pretty close to it? Like, that didn't make sense to me. But I think the Rams in general are still a very good team. I picked them to win the division last year, okay? And they made a deep run in the playoffs, okay? So I was on the Rams last year. I'm on the Rams again. The Rams are probably the best team in the West, in my opinion. Who gives a crap what a sports ball guy's? Exactly. That's my opinion. I don't care about the politics aspect of it. Rams cut Cooper Kupp. I don't get it either. Like, it doesn't make sense to cut one old wide receiver to bring in another one and pay him even more. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford have a great. I would love to see Cooper Kupp go to the Lions to repair up with Jared Goff. I mean, they don't need him, but that would be a big FU to the Rams. Eagles trying to move to a battering Ram style. Why not? Again, Quad Kings. Could you imagine that A.J. Dillon was signed solely for the reason to help push the tush push? Because we are literally going to run an entire drive this year of just tush pushes. And you're going to have Saquon and Dillon pushing. There's the 6 of the thickest quads in the NFL. Dark day for Rams Nation losing Cup. I'm sure they're upset about it. Big questions here in Columbus. A, who the hell is Matt Patricia? B, would someone please buy the Bengals? Hey, you guys with the Bengals is how we feel with the Sixers. Still worried about Dallas Goedert trade rumors. There's a chance. We're hoping that maybe he gets hopefully he gets renegotiated instead. I thought he'd get traded. Now I'm kind of leaning towards hoping that he just gets renegotiated and stays. But the Dallas Goedert news, I feel, will happen within the next 2 to 3 days. That's what I see happening. Whether he stays or goes, next 2 or 3 days will be very telling about Dallas Goedert. The new pizzas, yes, the Greek pizza and the pierogi pizza, they're delicious. They're selling well. Thanks. We sell most of them on Friday because of Lent season, because we are in Lent season here right now. For those Catholics out there, that's what we're in right now. But guys, we're coming to the final 5 minutes. Please, if you haven't already, there should be like 30 likes on this video, so please hit that like button if you haven't already. Please hit share and share it to one social media platform with the words, please subscribe to the best sports talk show in Philadelphia. I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope somebody makes an offer for Dallas Goedert. Yeah, would you rather keep Dallas Goedert, give him an extension, or trade him for, say, a 4th-round pick and figure it out? But if you watched the Rams last year, you would see Kupp get almost 20 targets in week 1. He got hurt for a big stretch of last year. There is that for sure. Quadadelphia. I like that. Goddard to Carolina soon for 5. Watch. Pierogi pizza, yeah. I love a good pierogi pizza. Put some mashed potatoes down, some chopped up onions, a mixture of cheese, maybe put a little side of sour cream to dip it in. I'm a big mashed potato guy. Is that potato and onions on the pie? No, it's potatoes and onions, mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese. It's delicious. I think it needs a little hot sauce. I can't put hot sauce on it for everybody, but if you had it, if you came on out to my shop, I would recommend a little drizzle of hot sauce on it, just to spice it up a little bit. That's for me. And then we're doing a Greek pizza for Lent with spinach, feta, tomato, onions, and olives. It's very good. I think this would be the smart move, Eric. I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be a smart move. 3, I don't think you'd get a 3. I think a 4 I think your best chance would be a 4, maybe a 5 that has a condition to become a 4 if he plays X amount of games or something. K1, that's where I would be. Okay with. You can't eat steak. Well, good. I eat steak every day. And I need a good steak. Maybe Sunday. It's going to rain on Sunday. Maybe I'll cook some good steaks on the cast iron skillet on Sunday. How about that? That might be my thing on Sunday. Got to suck this coffee down. I got a lot of food to make in literally the next 30 minutes. So, anyway, guys, tomorrow, what's on the agenda tomorrow? Whatever Eagles breaking news there is. Maybe mock draft 2.0. We did one 2 weeks ago. We'll do another one tomorrow. And what else will we do? Depends on what the breaking news is. Depends on how much people freak out on Twitter today about the lack of moves from the Eagles. That's the thing. I would not trade away the safety valve tight end for Hurts. There needs to be continuity there while they draft another. Well, I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, John Dotson, Saquon Barkley, at least 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen. There's a lot of continuity on this offense already. If you're in the Kennett Square area, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Adam, for the plug. I appreciate it. How do you like your steaks? It depends on – I order it either medium rare or medium. It depends on the restaurant I'm at. If I trust the restaurant in the sense where I know they have good chefs, I get it medium rare. If I don't trust the chefs, I get it medium. If you get it medium, it might come out medium rare. It might come out medium well. But if you get it medium rare and they undercook it, that's no good. So if it's a good, high-quality kitchen, it's medium rare for me all the time. But if not, then we go medium, just to be safe. Because, that's just the way it is. I'm an aristocrat. Is that what it is? I like medium rare. I just don't trust I know there's inconsistencies in restaurants. Dead rare on the steak. I like it when it puts it. No. Are you one of those? Do you like it Pittsburgh style? I had somebody ask for that once in a restaurant. I didn't even know what it was at the time. If I'm in Brazil, I'm ordering exactly. For sure. Have a great day. Go Birds. And King Howie. Yeah, I like that. A Pittsburgh red. That's disgusting. Or a blue. Isn't there a blue one? What's up, Brianna? Happy day to you. Hope you're well. Like and subscribe, please, if you haven't already. Tight end is the easiest throw most often. I agree. It's just on his current contract, you can't keep him for the 1 year. You gotta either extend him or you gotta trade him. Aristocrats eating steaks medium rare is a Goodfellas restaurant. Yeah, I know. Anyway, guys, it's time to wrap this baby up. We'll be back tomorrow. Back to our normal 90 minutes tomorrow. I kind of liked going. We started at 7:50. I even got this. We started at 8:30, then we went to 8:15, then we went to 8 for a long time. Do I got to start this show at 7:50 now regularly? Jeez. Maybe we go to 100 minutes a show now. Maybe. Blue is red center and just a nice seared crust. That's a big pass. I give you what I want to give you. Work pays the bills. This does not, guys. Anyway, everybody have a great Wednesday. Or what is today? Today's Thursday. Everybody have a great Thursday. Back tomorrow. And, everybody have a great day. Go Birds. Like, subscribe, share. Have a great day. Go Birds. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.